Hello, how are you doing, Richard? Nice to have you on.
Nice to see you, mate.
Well. Hello, all you hardcores. We'll get something done today. How you been keeping, mate?
Yeah, very well, mate. The holiday seems like a distant memory now, as they all do once you come back. So, yeah, back into it this week, working Thursday, Friday this week.
Did you, before we speak about boxing, you've signed an MMA fighter, haven't you? Are you sponsoring the MMA guy, is it?
Yeah, he's an amateur lad. He's just won a championship fight on Saturday. We're not doing much with him. We're just supporting him with a bit of training gear for now. Nothing mad. Just trying to show him a little bit of support. He's only an amateur fighter, but he's got a lot of promise. Adam Butterworth, anybody wants to follow him. I think that he's looking to turn pro in the not too distant future. But yeah, he won a good fight. Anybody can search him on YouTube, Adam Butterworth. We'll find a link to YouTube for his last fight, 5-rounder, and he got a good submission win. So yeah, one for the future. So, and a really nice lad as well, really quiet, unassuming. There's a lot of people who can handle themselves, aren't they? Just a nice lad, and you know, we wish him well for the future. So we're just helping him out a little bit.
Okay. Your company is called Factory Fixers, I believe, isn't it, Richard?
Yeah, that's who we trade under. So that's the company that we do most of our work with. Yeah, that's who Adam's sponsored with. Yeah.
And do you reckon he'll go all the way, Richard?
I'm not saying I'm knowledgeable at boxing, but I'm not as knowledgeable with MMA as I am boxing. So it's difficult to tell. What I would say is he's got a great work ethic, and he's improving all the time. So if you watch his videos from when he first started out to now, you can see the improvement. So you know he's got a promising future. And MMA is where it's at the moment, as we all know. So good luck to him, and let's hope we can do something.
I've just been speaking to my mate, Frank Smith from Bury, and he's massive into MMA. You know, he's very close friends with Andy Aspinall. You know that is Tom Aspinall's dad. They're lovely people, the Aspinall family. He's a unit, Tom Aspinall. He's he's undefeated as an heavyweight boxer, but I think he's going to fight for a world title in the next 12 months on a Dana White show.
Yeah,
he's heavyweight, obviously, but he's really they're not nice people, and he's as tough as they come. His legs are like concrete, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, there's some nice people, just like Rico Verro, Rico Ver. You know, Rico, he's nice people, but yeah, again, people usually are. He was a gentleman, aren't they?
Yeah,
those sort of guys. But it's a tough sport. And Frank's asked me, have you thought about covering MMA or UFC or whatever they call it? And I said, I have thought about it, but you know what puts me off, Richard? It's the history of it. You know, like boxing, I can go back years, and I can't. There isn't that many years to go back with that, but I don't feel comfortable doing it. I don't know. I mean, something I might look at if I get fed up with boxing, but I am a little bit fed up with boxing. But it's like a roller coaster, isn't it? You know, you're up and down, aren't you?
and there's nothing wrong with broadening your horizons.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, how many people in boxing have never laced up a glove or you know, don't have the encyclopedic knowledge of a lot of people? They've just the journalists, the general sporting journalists, and they've got an opinion, and so there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean say your opinion is going to be the most knowledgeable, but you know, there's nothing better than just saying what you see. You know, commenting on what you see and what you observe. You know, if somebody's being a dick in social media, whether it's boxing, MMA, or football, you can point that out and hold them to task. And if it's regarding a fight, you can appreciate somebody who's done something really special. You don't have to be an expert in jiu-jitsu or wrestling or grappling or whatever to have an opinion on it. If they've done something that's absolutely outstanding, you can describe it and talk to it. That's what I think anyway. But have a think about it, mate. It's it's certainly a sport that's it's growing faster than any other sport, I think.
It's quite worrying, isn't it, for
Yeah.
boxing?
For boxing, yeah.
Obviously, there's some statistics here, and I do have people that send me stuff. People who do it for a living, and they show me things, and I'm like, where are we going with this boxing here? If I get to know, and I've mentioned this before, Eddie Earnall now, or Eddie Hills, all them, they'll know that he's in trouble. And fights like Fury and Joshua, they should have been made years ago. Wilder came over for the Vladimir Joshua fight, and they said they paid him 50 grand and flew him over. You're next, but winner. That were 5 years, 4 months ago. We're nowhere near. It was lip service paid to the fans then in April 2017, and it's a distant memory now. At the time, they just say anything to get out of jail, and the fans buy into it. But I think since 2017, they haven't bought into it, which proves why they can't sell them tickets at Tottenham Hotspur for the last fight with Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
He's in big trouble with Joshua. That's why they had to go Saudi and fight in front of no people, because they couldn't put a crowd like they did at Tottenham, but they were all help for heroes and ambulance service and fire service and all that, all comped. So maybe the Joshua bubbles burst. I don't know. As regards ability-wise, yeah, it has burst. He's not a top 5 heavyweight, is he now? I don't think so. Where would you rank him in ratings, Julian?
Richard.
Sorry, Richard. Sorry.
Julian's going to be devastated if he thinks he's put that much weight on. So don't let him hear that, bless him. Yeah, I do think he's a top 5. Probably just scrapes into top 5. So we want to put above him, obviously, Usyk and Fury. Maybe after that, you've got a Joyce and Hughie Fury, and then maybe Joshua. So who else would you put above him? So I think he's a top 5 fighter. We'll probably get into his performance at the weekend. I spoke to you offline on Saturday a little bit, and I spoke to you offline since Saturday. I've got a little bit of a different view on regards to sort of all the sort of over-analysis and criticism of Joshua. I'm never going to feel sorry for him or defend him. I'm not going to feel sorry for a multimillionaire Olympic 2-time heavyweight champion with a 6-pack. I'm not going to feel sorry for him, but I think there's been a bit of an overreaction to his performance and an over-criticism of his performance. Forget about the outburst. I'm parking that to one side. That's a different thing. But as regards his performance and the fight itself, I really enjoyed it. And I think that Usyk clearly won. He clearly won 4 rounds, maybe 5. He clearly won that fight. But it was a good competitive fight for a lot of the fight. That's how I felt. I enjoyed it. And it wasn't easy for Usyk. Usyk was breathing very hard after 3 or 4 rounds. I texted you at the time and said, look at his breathing. At that time, Joshua seemed to be the more comfortable as regards performance. I don't mean sort of winning the fight. But I thought for a lot of that fight, Usyk was on a tightrope. And he balanced that tightrope like a master. But it wasn't an easy night's work for him. He had to work very, very, very hard to perform at the level he performed at. It wasn't an easy night for him. That's what I thought. Did he win it? Yeah. Did he win it comfortably? Yes. But you could tell how he dropped at floor afterwards. Some of it was emotion, but some of it was exhaustion. He was walking a tightrope. It's a matter of millimeters and split seconds at that level. That's my opinion, mate.
I think you're doing AJ a big favour there, Richard. I don't agree with that personally. I think that he got took to school. I only give him 3 rounds. That would be generous. What did you give him? 4?
Yeah, 4 or 5. I think that after
5, Richard, come on, 5.
Yeah, after he won 9th, he won 3rd. You could argue he won 4th. That's 3 straight off the top of my head. He lost 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so maybe 4 rounds max. But my point, but he was competitive in other rounds. I think took to school is not a terrible analogy. He got beaten by a master boxer. He did for sure. But did he improve? Yeah. Is it his worst performance? No. Would he at that level have beat most other heavyweights in the world? Yeah, he would have. So there's nothing wrong with being third, fourth, fifth best heavyweight in the world. I think we're being a bit. Oh, we're not giving Usyk enough credit for doing what he did.
Right, let
We
me
should,
just.
we should be looking at his performance and saying, look how he set those traps. Look how he picked himself up in championship rounds. Look how he got a second wind. Look how he brought him onto his left hook. You know, that's what we should be talking about.
Okay. I'm going to throw a curveball at you here. It's come out, not from Usyk, from a couple of his team, and Usyk didn't want it out there. That he had a rib injury. We did speak about this a few days ago, didn't we? Usyk didn't want it out there, but Eddie Hearn, in his wisdom, found out, went straight away and told Joshua what he's going to do, isn't he? Yeah. So Joshua, like some big oaf, you know, lovable lummox, a big oaf, decided to go and tell him at the face-off, didn't he? You heard what he said, didn't you? He said, can you handle a body shot or whatever? We're having a little to say, I know. He was more or less saying, look, I know about your ribs. You heard it, didn't you? We all heard it. So I thought, well, if Usyk did have an injury, he ain't the type to tell him, is he? Well, like I said, Joshua pre-warned him. So that wasn't a very good move by him, was it?
No, he weren't. But I also think, I mean, how much of that is true or not, I don't know, mate. But I also do know that if you park that to one side, there was a lot of talk prior to that regarding that the only time Usyk's been stopped is with body shots. You know, so take whether he had a rib injury or not.
Well, you always pick needles. You're always picking injuries apart, the fighters, aren't they?
Yeah.
When has Usyk ever been stopped? He's 20-0.
I mean, he's an amateur.
Oh, as an amateur. Didn't Sean Porter beat him in amateurs?
I think so, mate.
Middleweight.
I've not got his bot recs up, but my point is that they were saying that, you know, that was his best opportunity to sort of get to him through his body, off of the double jab, and then try and get his chest and his body. And he looked to me as though that's what he was trying to do, but not successfully, because unfortunately for him, Usyk was too good. But, you know, you could see he had some semblance of a game plan. Executing it and wanting to do it's a different thing, isn't it?
Do you think that Joshua can't sustain two good attacks over 2 rounds? Because he has a good attack in 1 round, then he's got to take a round off, hasn't he? So it's stop-start all the time, isn't it? And I think he knew that towards end, because when he grabbed microphone, and obviously when his head went, he started going on, I'm heavy, I can't throw combinations and all that. Well, this is what you wanted to be, a boxer. I'm sure you can throw combinations on bag up at EIS. If you can't throw them in fight, it's because Usyk's not letting you throw them. There's a difference, isn't there?
Yeah, he's not letting you throw them, or you've just not got the commitment and confidence to throw them and not get one back or look silly by missing him. But either one, you know, Usyk were drawing him in, feinting, and you could see very much like the first fight, but not as much, where he didn't feel confidence to let him go. He was setting himself, and Usyk was gone, or he another little feint, and he sort of countered Joshua's work rate. That's just a master boxer. You know, he just wasn't there to be hit some of the time, and when he was, he might just twitch or do a move, and it just made Joshua have a second thought for a split second, and you know, that's just how it is. That's boxing.
Yeah. Do you feel that? Well, I don't think we need to talk about the outbursts and that, because they've gone down the mental health route. So if I say anything, I'm a bully now, because you can't say no about that, can you? Otherwise, you get criticised. So we'll put that to one side. Enough people have commented on it.
Yeah.
And I spoke about it with Rico and Julian yesterday. What's next for Joshua? The saying, it could be Chisora White or Zhang. What do you think?
As regards testing himself, I don't think it's a Chisora thing. Chisora maybe for confidence, but you know, the mates, is it going to be a competitive fight? I don't think so. I think Zhang, I think that Joshua beats him. I didn't see anything on Saturday to either with Ergovic or Zhang to make anybody seem worried about the top 6 heavyweights in the world. That wouldn't have worried any of them. Yeah, that was a good fight. It was entertaining, but only as regards they were both underperforming, and it had a bit of drama in it. You know what I mean? So from that point of view, it was okay, but it didn't light any fires up, did it? So what's next for Joshua? Maybe a rematch with White, because I think that's probably a competitive fight, and if he comes through that, he probably gets some confidence out of it and could push on. One thing I didn't necessarily agree with Julian about, and I really respect Julian, he's probably forgotten more about boxing than I'll ever know. So I don't mean this with any disrespect, but I don't think he should be going back to 10 rounders to build. I think he's had one camp with a new training team and he made some improvements. So go back, have a look at how he got his successes and have a look at how they can possibly replicate them as if there's ever a rematch or ever another fight with somebody else who's going to be at the top of the game. I don't think they should throw the towel in and start looking at 10-round fights and rebuilding confidence and stuff like that. He's an Olympic champion, 2 times heavyweight champion. If he's not going to be fighting 12 rounders, it might as well get out of the game.
Well, what I wanted to say then is he's not going to be in a world title fight next, is he? We know that, don't we? By looks, isn't it? So it won't be a 12-rounder anyway, unless he were an interim. And their egos are that big, they couldn't do an interim. They won't be able to do it. So it'd only be a 10-round international, wouldn't it?
Potentially, yeah. But I think that you're right in regards to if that's how it's structured. But there is a possibility if they can't make the Usyk Fury fight, which I'm sure they'll be able to do. But if they can't make it, Usyk said he's not going to fight again. So you could have a situation, mate, where Joshua could be fighting for a world championship, a version of the world championship belt.
There's Bacon. There's Bacon.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to want all belts split up now, aren't they? All them about, it's all about undisputed. Now they've been licked, so let's split all the belts up. They don't care for boxing fans. They care for that. They care for that, mate. That's what they care for. You know what I mean? But everything done for them. Oh, and AJ's been treated royally by them. He should get on his knees and thank Eddie Hills, because we are Eddie Hills. I don't think you. Do you think he could have done this with Bricktop? They'd have been in court by now, wouldn't they?
No, we'll look back on this period, and like you say, he's Tyson Fury on Ed a couple of months ago when he was saying after the first loss, we know what Tyson's like, but I have to agree with him. By any stretch, by any measure of success, AJ's got to look back on his life, and compared to most people in the world, he's successful, isn't he? That in regards, he's an healthy guy. He's fit. He's healthy. That's your first measure of success.
Yeah.
Have you got your health? Yeah. Then regards wealth, he's a wealthy guy. Then as regards achievements, no matter what you say about him, he's got on the record books. He's got heavyweight world championships and an Olympic gold medal. So so if you can't be happy with that, what can you be happy with? So by any measure of success.
Let me just stop you there. Let me just stop you there, Richie, because I think your fanboy for AJ is getting a bit out of control there. Let me just point this out. Right, he stood in ring. I don't want me to talk about this. He stood in ring and he said, "I had 350 amateur fights like Usyk, this and that." No, but you're an Olympic gold medalist and a World Championship silver. Gareth A. Davis, you said he's a World Championship gold on TalkSport. Silver. And he should have not even had a medal at Olympics. He were gifted 3 of the 4 fights on countback. Well, that's by the by. Olympic gold medalists shouldn't be coming out with things like that, because it means that he were gifted that belt. He knows that. I know that. McCracken knows that. And the EIS. And people in the industry know he were gifted it. But nobody's going to rock the little boat when he's got Matchroom and Sky behind him, have they? And you've seen how vulnerable he is now with Sky. If he'd have been a Sky fighter, do you think them cameras would have stayed on him in that ring? They'd have cut to a commercial break of some bloke pushing a fly mower around garden, wouldn't they? Oh, buy this lawnmower. There wouldn't have been him there going on about Well, you heard when they were going on about civil wars and all. That's not a civil war, Russia and Ukraine, is it? Has his head gone or something?
Yeah, let's not touch on it too much. His has gone. That's a given. That were petulance. That were remote. That were whatever it were. It shouldn't have happened. It did, and so what? Who gives a monkeys about it? I don't. But your question was, would he be able to achieve it with anybody else other than Eddie Hearn?
No.
My response was probably not, and he's got to look back and think that he's been a success. His career's been a success.
They've had it off. They've had it off. They've all dipped the bread. It's come to an end. Look, everything we said from day one has come to an end. Now it's just a case of hoovering up all the crumbs that they've left at the table. Because they've scooped all the money up, but they've left some on the table. Just crumbs and crust. They'll get all them hoovered up, and then they'll put him in fights and they'll get smashed up. Like they did with Chris Eubank Senior, English. Like what they did to him. He never got beat with them. Chris Eubank Senior's 5 defeats are all on Frank Warren shows. You know that, don't you?
Yeah.
Calzaghe, 2 Carl Thompson fights, and he had a couple of losses, didn't he, as well on his record. Forget who they were, it'll come to me later, but he had 5 defeats, didn't he? So that's how I look at it. But it is what it is, isn't it? I just think that we'll look back at this period of time and say they pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. Social media had just started out. They jumped on back of that Towie, didn't he? Right? Give them what he comped them all. What did they have? 35 million viewers, all the people in Towie. They were comping all of them every show, one of that Towie shower of shite. And they did the job for him. We'll comp you ringside, but you've got to tell all your followers. That kind of thing. So they were very smart. But he don't mean to say he's best promoter in Wales. He's just right place at right time. But he's backed his head into a corner that much that he's feeling his nappy at every show he goes to. Because he doesn't know what's going to happen. He can't go for a pee at a show without 2 bodyguards with him. What's that tell you? Muhammad Ali never had bodyguards. Because he never had no problem with anybody, did he? You know what I mean? But Eddie Hearn's an hard worker. But is that work? People tell me Dennis is an hard worker. Oh, he's an hard worker, Dennis. I said, what? Dennis is an hard worker. Dennis is just on that all day, drinking Costa or eating smoothies. Or that's not work. Driving around in fancy cars around Jersey all day, ringing people how much money we got in and how many tickets you done. Is he on weight? It's not work, that ain't work. To me, that ain't work. This ain't work right here. It's not work. No, you're doing work, is it? Well, I suppose it is when you're away from home, man, I suppose.
I work very hard. Don't you worry about that.
I do, yeah, I know, but when you're back from there, you have it off, don't you? You have a good life, don't you?
I'm in between gigs. I'm not doing a lot, but I'm also not getting paid.
Yeah, I see that problem. We all have the same problem around here. Kev's going to be unbearable, isn't he, this week? Leeds are joint second, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they had a good win at the weekend. Did they win at the weekend?
Be unbearable. Yeah, they won 3-0 against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Unbearable. Going to be unbearable, man. Looking at the table this morning, I thought, Leeds joint second. We're near bottom, aren't we? So, okay then. What did you think about Callum Smith?
I thought the first 2 or 3 rounds were dire from him in regards to he wasn't listening to his corner. That became obvious because you could hear it, and he also came out during the post-fight interview. Good win, because I think the Frenchman was a game lad, number 2. It wasn't a world beater, but it was capable. So I think all in all, it's a good win. But like you were talking about with Julian yesterday, it's a loaded division, isn't it? I do actually put Callum Smith. I hold him in a bit higher regard than I think probably you do. And I think that in a lot of those fights, British, domestic and a world level, they're good competitive fights. I think there's a lot of 50-50s, even for world titles. I think he stands a good chance. I don't think he's dipped over quite yet.
Do you think him and Yard's a good fight? Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant fight, but is it going to be, unless they can make a fight that's...
Where are you, Richard? Oh.
I'm in the house, but
Oh, echoey, isn't it? Is it a bit echoey?
Yeah. As you know,
Right.
there's not we're not very cluttered in this house, so it's
Yeah, it's one of them. I used to live in a pad like that in Oakley. Minimalistic, they call it, don't they?
yeah. So
My mum came to
the
see me. She says, "Where's your furniture?" So no one has furniture now, man. Sit on the floor.
yeah the I don't think he's over Hill yet. I think he's still competitive in that division. I think he could win a world title. I'm not saying it's a given, but I think that, like I say, most fights, if him in the yard can be made, it would have to be a minimum 0-2 sort of fight. So they were both going to gain financially from it. Other than that, he's going to wait. He's going to wait for a world title shot, isn't he?
Well, I've heard there might be an offer. There might be an offer going to Callum Smith for Yard and him for WBO interim. Because Beaterbee's got one at belts, hasn't he? Or
Yeah.
is it? I feel is it one of them's got belts, and one of them's injured, isn't it? Is it Beaterbee's injured?
But yeah, BTBF's injured. Who's the other guy?
Bivell's got one, hasn't he?
Yeah, Bivell's injured. Bivell's the one that's injured.
I thought it was Beaterbee that were injured.
No, it was the guy that fought Canelo that's injured, isn't it?
No, I don't know. I heard it would Beaterbee. Well, either way, Yard against Callum Smith, Yard against Callum Johnson. Callum Smith against Callum Johnson's better because they were both from the same gym, weren't they? Both Joe G fighters. And that's what I'd like to see, that Smith against Callum Johnson.
I'd like to see any of them, mate. They're really good fights. They're really good fights, but I think they're not going to get made unless they can fill an 0-2 out, something like that.
I think Callum Smith and Callum Johnson have wanted it, but I don't think that Paul Reddy, who advises Callum Smith, and Hearn would want it. But I think Joe G would take that fight in an heartbeat for Callum Johnson.
Well, he obviously knows both fighters very well, so if he fancies it, it must say something about what's happening in the gym, sparring and stuff like that. If he's going to take it in a heartbeat, he probably knows the outcome.
It'd be interesting to see if an offer does come out. I would have sworn it will Beaterbee who were injured. Hang on,
you're probably right. You're probably right. I thought it was the guy that Canelo fought.
Well, he's very quiet and he's going to be hard to market, in it, same as Beaterbee. Eddie don't want people like that with belts or Usyk because they're not marketable to him, are they? He's turning himself. Look, you know that Yessi offers with that welterweight gold medalist. He's dropped him like a stone or offered him peanuts. Olympic gold medalist, you don't want him because no personality and all that. But what's that good that we're fighting? What's it got to do with what you like on social media? If you can fight, you can fight. If you can't, there's the door. Get gone.
Yeah, it's your job as a promoter to promote. At the same time, if there's no public interest and you can't do a great job, unfortunately, that fighter is going to have to take purses that reflect his revenue stream. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. What did you think to the 4-minute round? Badou Jack against that Popeye.
I didn't see that fight. I tuned in a little bit late, so I can't really comment on that, mate. Sorry.
All right. What do you think to Tyson's comments the day after? Do you think he's a bit up and down lately, Tyson? 1 minute he's up there. I mean, some of the comments are coming out are a bit. What's going on here?
Yeah, he's always been the same. That's him. He's Mr. Inconsistency and Mr. Contradiction, and I think we've just got to live with that fact. I think what will happen is that people just go blind to it and deaf to it. You know what I mean? They'll stop commenting on it after a while because it is so erratic. I mean, you get Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith talking about Tyson and how erratic he is, and then you get other people commenting. But I think that'll all die down eventually, and people will just start getting deaf to it. They'll just ignore it, and it won't be having the effect it's had in the last 2 or 3 years. So I think we just got to take it that's him and that's it.
What do you think to Frank Smith's comments that Tyson Fury is a moron and that Anthony Joshua, it's not about belts now, he's that big now and belts don't mean anything because he's won everything. Do you think that's a bit of sour grapes? Because not so long ago, we were all about undisputed, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the term I'm going to use. I think there's a lot of sour grapes with Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith. You turn the clock back 18 months ago, 2 years ago, and they thought that they'd got the golden goose, which they had, from a revenue point of view, they had. But they thought that they got the dominant heavyweight, and they took a gamble on AJ, and they had the chance to, as you know better than I do, they had the chance to sign Tyson. Didn't come off because Tyson wanted to be number one. Frank Warren got him. The rest is history, isn't it? It's turned full circle. So there's a lot of sour grapes there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Who's your number? What's that noise?
Nothing from my end, mate.
must be echoing here. Nobody's come to get me, have they? In the ring on the hard road. He's not got into the factory to get me, has he, JP? Johnny Partridge.
He'll not be able to get past that steel door. If I can't get past it, nobody can get past it.
He might put ladder up to the window and just pull me straight through. Yeah. In the ring on the hard road. Pop, pop, bang. Okay, Richard, who's the number one heavyweight in the world at the moment? Pound for pound, we'll finish off on this. Who's your top five?
Top five: Tyson Fury, Usyk, Hughie Fury, Joshua, and I will say Joe Joyce.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You got Hughie Fury at number three?
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of potential, and I think he's got the key to unlock a lot of these top fighters. He can do a similar sort of style he can adopt a similar sort of style to Tyson, but we've got to see it. We've got to see it. So it's
You've got to be given a chance. Got to be given a chance.
Yeah, he's got to get a chance, but he's also got to make sure that, for me, you've got to be prepared to take the short money than the low money to try and get the longer money down the road sometimes. So he needs to get out there quick.
All right then. Well, listen, thanks for coming on. I hope you're all right.
Yeah.
What you got planned for the rest of the day?
I'm finally going to get that tyre done.
No, have you not done it yet?
No, I've not got around to it. Spare's been on it, so we've been using the other one for the last couple of days. And so I get it done today.
You're going down there when I give you that thing?
No, I'm going to go out to Brinsworth. I phoned him up. There's no difference in costs on those budget tyres, so I'm going to. I've got a decent price for the Pirellis that are on, so I think I'm going to.
Get a budget tyre on, man. One piece of rubber, Richard. It don't tell another piece of rubber that it's better than it. I've had this argument with my mum. Oh, I've got Marks and Spencer's for tomatoes and little red ones. Listen, a tomato doesn't say to another tomato in a field, I'm going to be in Marks and Spencer's, and if you get it from Lidl, it's cheaper, but we're better. It's a tomato, isn't it?
You're right, but you pay for what you get.
I do see your point with tyres, but I had it with Kevin. He don't think no, we're going to spending 800 quid on 4 tyres. What are you doing? You should be spending about 300.
Yeah, it's not 800, unfortunately. It's a bit less than that, but yeah, and it also helps on your Partex and your resale. If you got matching tyres, it helps you get rid, and if you sell it private, it helps you get rid. So
okay, I didn't know. Well, us 2-bit car dealers, ex-car dealers, 995, and on your drive. We're not bothered about having 4 Pirellis on.
I can just see you now. Can we do a deal at 995? Yeah, okay. Oh, it seems like a good bargain. Hold on, I've not put VAT on it yet. I know.
Well, claim back and we're not back registered. You get your aid in trouble, that kind of thing. Okie dokie, well, listen, you take care. Have a great day, and I will speak to you soon, my friend. I'll get this straight out. I'll get this out. But this will be out. What?
So you can tell you put a bit of weight on your face, look a lot better, bud.
Yeah, 10 stone 7. Thank you.
Good.
I'll get this out at 2 o'clock. How's about that?
All right, Phil. See you later.
Take care, pal. Bye.
And you, mate. Bye-bye.
Well, that was Richard. All the way from Wickersley in Rotherham. Pay 200 quid for a tyre when you can pay 116. Tyre's a tyre, isn't it? You're getting rid of car. You've got main dealers to check what make your tyres are, don't they? But Joe Blogs don't know as if he's coming to buy a Mondeo off me. Emreg 95, 2 litre GL, 220 on clock with head gasket gone. 195 and on your drive. Peace out.